The program has a lot of opera. It also has Broadway. As an American, I was brought up also with Rodgers and Hammerstein and Lerner and Lowe and the older Broadway composers. But a lot of opera. In our programs, Voice Experience, we train singers in all kinds. Lieder, sacred music, Broadway, opera, of course opera, because it's a great medium. And I think my wife, Maria, is very good at staging and voice. And so we also stage it rather than, the old-fashioned way was somebody walks out, people applaud, they sing, they walk off. Next person comes out, they applaud, they sing, applaud, they walk off. Next person. We try to stage it to make meaning out of things so that it isn't just standing still. Opera, all music, is telling a story. And we try to tell the story in the movements and the voice, of course, the voice and the words, so that there's heart and mind in everything that we do. We try that.
When did you become interested in music, and how did you get into singing?
My mother was a piano teacher, church choir director, so I was brought up in church choirs. So I sang always. I love singing in choirs. I was also, what I like to say, it's an American phrase, I was a good sponge. That is, somebody would do something good, and I would think, oh, that's good. I would take it. I would use it. That's what I mean by a sponge. I would take things away. Because in music, well, it's a kind of a joke phrase. I say, in music, stealing is okay. It's legal, because you still have it. But it makes me better. I was good at looking at other performers and thinking, oh, that's good. I'm going to do that. I sang with Richard Tucker, Franco Corelli, Bergonzi, all of the Gedda, the great singers of the past, all of these people. And they would do wonderful things. And I thought, oh, good, I'm doing that. That's beautiful. I like it. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here, I can do it here. And I found a place where it works for me.
Who was most important teacher for you?
Who was the most important teacher? There really wasn't just one person. I mean, Andrew White was a primary voice teacher, but I did a lot of performances with Boris Goldovsky, a name you probably don't know, Russian-born, or you do know, good for you. He's long gone now, but I sang a lot. I did more than 300 performances of operas with Mr. Goldovsky in English. This was before computers, before screens and translations and all of that. And he believed that operas should be in the language of the people. So everything, I said, Bohème and Giovanni and Scarpia, Rigoletto, Barber, Carmen, like all in English. All in English. 300 performances. That's a lot. Well, you learn either you can do it or you can't do it. I learned that I could do it because 300 performances is a lot.
Is Metropolitan Opera your artistic home?
I sang more often at the Met than in Bulgaria, in Vienna, in London, in Paris, in Milano. But I think I sang 654 performances at the Met, and I probably sang about the same everywhere else, including the Bolshoi in Moscow and Tokyo and so all over the world, Korea and so forth. Wherever there's an opera house, I sang. I missed one place. I did a recital tour of Europe, and I was supposed to go to Warsaw in Poland. Well, it was Chernobyl hit the atomic accident, and I called our State Department, And I said, I have a recital in Warsaw. And they said, maybe better not go because it was right close to Chernobyl. So I never sang in Poland. They said, don't go, and I canceled it.
Please tell us about secret of your voice.
Secret?
Secret of your voice.
Is there a secret? I don't know.
Do you have a favorite role?
Well, it's a long answer, because there isn't just one. The bad guys, Scarpia Iago, Tosca, Otello. I probably did those more often than anything else, maybe 150 of each. Bad guys are easy. You know, if I say...
Easy to perform?
To perform, oh yeah.
Why? Why it's easy? It's not easy.
That's easy. Those are tricks. Jack Nicholson, for instance, you know, the famous movie star. Being a bad guy, very easy. Harder to be good guys, like Bocanegra, or Rodrigo in Don Carlo, or Miller in Louisa Miller. Germán Traviata, that's a different thing. I mean, he's a bad guy and a good guy. The baritones are often the bad guys, unfortunately. But my all-time favorite is Hamlet, Thomas, French composer. After the Shakespeare, of course. It's complicated. I won't even do this on this interview because I sang Hamlet in French, which is the original of the French composer, and English. It's interesting. In English, it's much more Shakespearean. You feel like it's Shakespeare. In French, same music, exactly the same music, but it's grander. Why? I don't know. In French, grand. In English, Shakespeare. It's a great role.
How much is important nowadays the vision of the opera singer? In the past was important only the beauty of voice.
Well, it's not brand new, I would say. How you look on stage in the last 2 or 3 decades, 30 years, very important. Much more important now than when I started. I mean, the joke among the old, the ones I mentioned, Tucker, Corelli, Bergonzi, Delmonico, even Gedda, although Nicolai was a little more modern. The joke was, you want acting? Call Laurence Olivier. You want a high C? Call me. Well, it's a joke, of course. But they didn't study acting. Back then, if somebody had a throat, had a voice, study voice. I don't say that. I say, study music. Play the piano. I point to a piano over there. Learn keyboard. Learn about music. Sing, of course, sing. But study music. Then, and in addition, maybe at some point, when you're at least 18, if not 19 or 20, then maybe you study voice. But study music first. Because the old guys, if I can say it like that, because I'm an old guy now, the old guys, they didn't know about music. I remember lots of times, a conductor would say, let's start on the E flat major. And the tenor would go, where? What's E flat major?
You are a conductor also.
Well, I conduct sometimes. If that makes me a conductor, okay. That's because I was a violin player.
You work with many young singers in the programs, the foundation and the festival that you created with your wife, Soprano Maria Zoas, Sheril Miln's voice programs, the Voice Experience Foundation and the Savannah Voice Festival. Is there a change in the new generation of musicians?
That's a hard question to answer. and I don't want to be negative. A problem with many singers is they think once they have a piece memorized, and you know what that means, memorized, without the music, it's finished. It's ready to go. That is wrong. If you could have it memorized, you sing without the music, then you can make a story. You can tell a story, the poetry, the heart, the spirit. There's much to do after you've memorized. So many singers now think, well, I have it memorized, so I'm done. Wrong. Then the journey starts. You have to tell a story. That's difficult. But it takes learning, it takes practice, it takes repetition and thought.
Bulgaria is really proud of its operatic voices. Which Bulgarians have you met on stage, and what are your impressions of them?
Well, some of this we dealt with the other day, but, well, the most famous is Nikolai Yarov. I sang his debut at the Met. I was the Valentin, he was the Mephistopheles. After my debut. He's older than I was, but he debuted a year after I did. For me, Nikolai was the giant in the world. He was the best. Nikolai Guzelev, who I understand has also passed away. He had a heart attack or something. I sang with him, various places in the States. And in Vienna, also in Vienna, the Staatsoper. Raina Kabyavanska did the film, of course, Tosca film, and other performances. And Raina is still alive, I guess, and doing well. Dimitrova, Gena Dimitrova, sang not a lot, but with her, a bunch. And Anna Tomava-Sintov, many times. Anna, Salzburg, Giovanni, and Munich, and Berlin, and all over.
Do you feel like an ambassador of music?
Well, I certainly did when I sang all over the world. I mean, in Moscow at the Bolshoi, I was the only American in the cast. The rest were Russians. So I was proud. But anywhere, in Vienna, Berlin, or Paris, so forth, I was proud to be an American and showing whatever I could do. Of course.
Thank you for the interview, Maestro.
It's been my pleasure.